Hello everyone, welcome back to the latest episode of my Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2017 playthrough, and we're in the playoffs. So before I talk about the playoffs itself and comment on where we are, I've sort of simmed right the way through up until the championship finals, and we'll see how that goes. I just thought we'd do a quick recap of how we've been doing on our franchise team, the LA Waves or LA Lakers, and see how we got on with the last month of the season. You can see from where we finished, we obviously didn't make the playoffs, unfortunately. Like I sort of said in the last Let's Play, we were going to be in a really tough position to make the playoffs anyway. We were sort of sitting 4 or 5 games back at the time, and this sort of top 8 in the Western Conference has kind of stayed the same throughout the period. There has been no massive moves. For us, it's interesting that Houston dropped right the way down. Dallas made a little bit of a charge towards the end of the month. But we performed fairly admirably. We've finished 34 and 48. In terms of our schedule, we did pretty well. We won sort of several games against Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, the LA Clippers, and Memphis. So we beat a couple of playoff teams in there, but unfortunately it just wasn't quite enough for us. We couldn't quite make it through, and we're obviously going to be looking at the lottery in the off season and the draft now. So we'll see how we go. Obviously we've got a long way to go to try and catch someone like Golden State, who finished with an incredible 78-4 record and have been the favourites right the way through this postseason as well. So in terms of how our players have sort of performed, I'll just quickly scan through their player cards and I'll just do a slight comment on each one. So D'Angelo Russell, I think I'm now leaning towards trading him. You know, I know he's only 19. He's only had this is his sort of second year in the league, but I can't see him being our point guard if we're going to win the championship, and I think that's what it comes down to. Do I think he will be here if we can win a championship? And I think the answer to that is no. So we'll be looking to move him on. Jose Calderon had a fairly good season for someone who we initially thought was never going to see a sort of a minute for us. He ended up playing the starting point guard position for us for the majority of the season and performed fairly well. He's obviously expiring, so we'll see. I don't think we'll be keeping him unless he comes back on a really good, favourable deal for us. You know, being 34, question marks whether he could do the same thing again next year. Marcelo Huertas has obviously got another year with us. He didn't play many minutes really. He, had a little stint when we had some injury issues, sort of towards the last sort of quarter, third of the season, and he didn't do anything to me that stood out. So we'll see if we can move him on as well. A cheap deal anyway, even if we can't. Jordan Clarkson had a fairly good season for us. He shot okay. You can see his shooting percentages. It's not too bad. But for me, this contract here is fairly big. I know he's only 23, but I'm not a fan of his defense. And even though he's got okay stinging ability, I think his trade value is going to be fairly high at the moment. He'll be on a sort of 3-year deal, middling deal, and I think we'll look to try and move him as well. So we're going to be really aggressive with this off-season, guys, and see what we can do. Nick Young, unfortunately, didn't play many minutes. Well, I say unfortunately didn't play minutes. He didn't play many minutes because he isn't very good, but his ratings are pretty atrocious on this. He's not going to get many minutes for us, but he has this player option, which unfortunately I think he will pick up $5 million. So we'll probably be stuck with him next year. Brandon Ingram's probably our shining light this season. We know he sort of suffered that injury towards the sort of first third of the season, which put him out for a large chunk of it. But when he was in and was playing, he performed really well for us. He's, like I said, guys, he's probably not going to be a franchise player for us, but he's going to be a really good glue guy who can support a franchise player and do everything, across both ends of the court. So really interesting to see how he develops, and hopefully he'll be here next season. Well, he will be here next season. We're probably not going to look to trade him unless we get a crazy offer. Meta World Peace, probably not going to be here next season. He was here for a bit of veteran and locker room presence. He did come in and play a short stint in the season when we had Ingram out, and he didn't do anything too well, but he's on an expiring deal, so he'll probably be gone. Larry Nance Jr. is an interesting one, so he's probably performed above his ratings this year. See, he's not got anything that's massively standing out, but he had to perform a sort of a bit of a utility role for us at times. We obviously started him and played him some good minutes, and he played fairly well for us, so I'm quite keen to keep him because he is on a good deal, but if he may be a trade chip for us if we need to try and get a deal over the line. He is an option to move on. Thomas Robinson didn't play much, expiring deal, probably gone. Same with Scola. We obviously made that move to get him, trading Luol Deng's contract out early in the season. He's probably not going to be here next year at the age of 35. Question marks whether he'll be back in the league next year anyway. Likewise with Amir Johnson, we made that move again to clear off some cap space, and he did okay for us in the minutes that he played. He sort of came off the bench, shot pretty well, and he's got some good defence, but again, we're not going to try and keep that $12 million contract. We may look at him if we need to shore up a bench position, and he may have a good offer, but we'll see. Ivaka Subak has spent most of the time in the D-League, and he's done fairly well there for us, for our D-League team, playing some good minutes, shooting okay. He'll probably be here next year. He's obviously on a rookie deal still. He's got some good defence, so he may be one that we might want to try and give a go in Summer League, see how he gets on, and then maybe he could be fighting for some minutes, we'll see. But his defending is good, like I said, but his rebounding is pretty terrible for a 7'1" centre, so we'll see how that goes. Tarek Black, he's obviously got another year with us. He'll be an expiring deal, so he might be an interesting trade chip for us towards the trade deadline next year. But he didn't play any minutes for us. He kind of sat around really and didn't do anything. I didn't feel confident in putting him in. But again, we'll give him a go in Summer League, see whether we can earn some minutes if we need to. Mozgov is unfortunately this lingering albatross contract that we've got that we can't shift no matter what unless we give away a lot of assets, so he'll probably be here next year. He's done okay. Obviously lost his starting spot to Rudy Gobert, who we'll comment on in a little bit of time, but he didn't shoot that well. He's a bit of a frustrating one because he's got the height and he's got some fairly good ratings in defence and court intelligence, but he's never going to be anything that's going to stand out, just that long contract. Obviously, like I said, Rudy Gobert is the one that we made a move for and we were quite aggressive with, and we're obviously very keen to keep him here next year. Obviously his contract bumps right the way up to $21 million, which was probably why we were able to get him so cheap, but he performed really well. He obviously is not going to be a dominant scorer for us in the paint, so we'll have to support him with some inside scoring, but in terms of defense ability and rebounding ability and getting those second chance points, he's going to be really good for us. So that was a quick recap. There's obviously, like I said, there's probably going to be quite a lot of moves for us in the off-season. We'll see how the draft pans out for us, but we're going to try and be really aggressive, guys. I think we're obviously probably the ones that are probably almost certainly going to stay are going to be Ingram, Mozgov and Gobert probably. The others I'm pretty open to moving along, trying to reshape this roster and get us back into the championship hunt. So looking at how the playoffs have panned out, I sort of commented on in the last episode that I felt I would have been really interested to see Philadelphia against Golden State here in the final, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out like that. Philadelphia struggled against Boston, who have gone right the way through and they're in the finals against Golden State. So second seed of the East against the first seed of the West. Cleveland sort of got knocked out by them as well. In terms of upsets, I don't think there were any major upsets. Just scanning down, no, I can't see any real upsets. Obviously the only one that you could probably comment on is Cleveland losing to Boston, but even then I think they were quite evenly matched. So this is going to be an interesting one. For me, I would be surprised if Boston win it, mainly because of how strong Golden State are. But we're going to sim through, guys, and we'll see how they get on. See who wins the championship, the first season of our Let's Play. So you can see there quite early on, Golden State have taken the initial lead, going one up, and Steph Curry really taken the game to them. of winning the player of the game, 32 points, which is excellent. So it's all to do for Boston. Can they sneak one out here? No, it doesn't look like they can. Again, losing quite convincingly, really. This time Kevin Durant, so you can stop one but you can't stop the other. So Kevin Durant really stepping up for them with 38 points as well. This is going to be really tough for Boston, I think, to get anything out of this, but we'll see. Can they do it here? Looks like they've pulled a game back at home, which is really good to see. Makes it a little bit more competitive, avoids the whitewash. Let's see how that game went. It's taking a little while to load up the box score. There we go. Isaiah Thomas, look at that, 43 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. Their star player of the season, really. Isaiah Thomas stepping up to the mark and taking Curry to town. So obviously if they're going to get anything out of this, they need him to really carry on in that sort of form. And looks like they haven't been able to do it in the third game. Looks like Golden State have sneaks one here. Steph Curry again, player of the game. Looks like he's having a really good finals for them. It looks like they didn't shoot too well in terms of Golden State, but obviously in terms of the, Curry just sort of drove home the win for them. Let's have a little look. It looks like they obviously got to the free throw line a lot, which probably made the difference in this one. So can Boston hang on and keep going, or will it just be Golden State taking that championship home? And it looks like it's Golden State who've taken it home, winning by 3 away from home, 128 to 125. That's a fantastic result for them. Let's take a look and see how that final game went. I'll be surprised if Durant or Curry haven't won the player of the game for this one as well. Curry probably looks like he's going to be the MVP of the finals, or Durant, look at that, stepping up there, 37 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks and 3 assists. And it looks like it didn't go to overtime, but it looks like it was quite a close one in the end. So it looks like Golden State are the team to beat. They obviously have won the finals, and fully expected when they went 78-4 in the season. We're just going to sim through now and just see if we can get to the end of season awards and see how that's looking out for teams. Looks like we're just slowing up a little bit here. So we'll just sim the season. Let's get through these games. So we've got up to the draft lottery. So this is going to be really important for us, guys. Can we sneak up in the draft lottery, or will we be stuck sort of down in sort of that middle tier that we are at the moment? So you can see we've got 0.9% of actually winning the first pick of the draft. The likes of Phoenix, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Washington sort of going to be the front runners. But can we sneak up from that position? Let's see how it goes. So it looks like Detroit, as expected, are in 14th. They haven't moved up. Neither has Orlando. Neither has Memphis. Neither of us. It looks like we're going to be picking 11th, guys. So obviously not going to be right up in the top tier. Probably not going to be getting an elite player, but we can probably still get a really solid starting piece there. Miami have stayed in position. Dallas, looks like there's no moves at the moment in terms of where people are going to be moving. Looks like no changes at the moment. Oh, there's one. Phoenix have dropped down to 3rd from the first round, from the first pick. So who will get that number 1 pick? Will it be Brooklyn or Milwaukee? It looks like it's going to be Milwaukee, so that's really good for them. It's kind of panned out really nicely with Giannis being injured for most of the season. They're going to get a real good supporting player for him. So that's really good news for them. For us, obviously, we're going to be picking 11th. That's going to be interesting to see. We're going to have to obviously make sure we scout really well and can get a really good player in there. But off-season is going to be really aggressive for us, guys, like I've said before. So let's take a look at the awards for the end of the season. The most valuable player was Russell Westbrook. Didn't quite get that triple-double that he did in real life, but he was pretty close to it. 31, 10, 7 was really good. So definitely the most valuable player in this season. Defensive Player of the Year has gone to Draymond Green, as you'd probably expect, one of the best defensive players in the league. The Sixth Man of the Year, surprisingly, has gone to Rajon Rondo. So looks like he didn't start for Chicago, which I didn't notice really. So interesting that he won the Sixth Man of the Year award. Let's take a look at the Rookie of the Year. We kind of already know who this one's going to be, guys. It's probably going to be Ben Simmons. So Ben Simmons winning that award, and there was no surprise there. He had a fantastic season and was a big driving force behind Philadelphia doing so well in the season, getting into a solid playoff seed. Coach of the Year, surprisingly, has gone to Doc Rivers, which is a shock. I'd surely expected that to go to Golden State and to Steve Kerr, but interesting that one. Let's take a look at the All-League first team. So obviously Russell Westbrook, James Harden, surprisingly, LeBron James, Blake Griffin and Anthony Davis, and not a single Golden State player is in that first All-League first team, which probably shows two things. They obviously sacrificing some of their points positions, but still interesting. Let's take a look at the all-second team. So we've got Steph Curry in there, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, so Golden State dominating that. Brook Lopez, I don't understand why Brook Lopez is in the all-second team. Brooklyn have been terrible. He's just basically been putting points on the board, so that's a shocking one for me. The All-League third team, let's have a quick look. So we've got Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Love and Nikola Vucevic. So we've commented on Vucevic, I think, a couple of episodes ago, but he's had a really good season for Orlando, even though Orlando haven't done that well. He's been pretty good for them. So it's got the all-defensive first team. So we've got Steph Curry, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green and Anthony Davis. So no surprise there. 3 of the 5 players are from Golden State, and obviously they've had such a good season that's understandable. The all-defense second team, John Wall, Avery Bradley, Kawhi Leonard, Kristaps Porzingis and Joel Embiid. So interesting. I haven't really got too many comments on that. Obviously all of those guys apart from Kristaps were playoff players, so you could argue that's probably one of the reasons why they're in there. The all-rookie first team, Chris Dunn, Jamal Murray, Brandon Ingram. So we've got someone in the all-rookie first team, which is fantastic. And then obviously Ben Simmons, and I think flick through, who was it? It was AJ Hammond. So obviously centre was a bit of an interesting position this year. The all-rookie second team, DeMarcus Cousins, Jaylen Brown, Marquise Chris, China Onaku. So no one there really who stood out. You can see, I mean, you guys probably can't quite see all the stats, but no one has really stood out there. So obviously the rookie class was fairly light this year, or they've got a lot of people who've got a long way to develop possibly, but great to see Ingram getting the all-rookie first team. That's really good from our perspective. So we're just going to end the year off now and see how things are shaping up really. This normally takes a little bit of a while to load through. Obviously having to collate all of the information. We'll see how we get on with this. But really interesting season. Obviously Golden State were the favourites to win it, and they did win it quite comfortably in the end. Really good season from Boston in terms of getting to the finals. But for me, I think for us next year, we're going to need to be really aggressive and see how we get on. See whether we can make some big moves to get us into that sort of playoff mix, championship mix. We'll see what's available. We'll see what the draft looks like, and I think we'll sort of get to the next episode, and we'll take the draft and the off season there and see how we get on. But I think this episode, guys, I'm going to leave it quite short now. Sort of end it here as we sort of load this year-ending process through. But as always, guys, if you have any sort of thoughts or comments on what you think we should be doing this off-season, anything you think we should be doing, do you think I'm making the right call in just saying that Ingram and Gobert are probably the guys we want to keep? Everyone else is pretty much open to moving. Do you think I've been too harsh on D'Angelo Russell? Do you think there's more we could get out of him? Really interested to hear your thoughts as always. And if just chuck them down in the comment section. If you like the episodes and you enjoy following along, just hit that like button. And if you want to see every episode as they come out, just hit that subscribe button, guys. And I think I'll end it there. I don't think I'll put you guys through the pain of the year-ending process, and we'll come back to the off-season next time.